Hey guys, it's Forsaken Reality here with the 39th episode of the multiplayer RPG tutorial series. In this episode, we're going to be doing some finishing touches on the dialogue tree. Basically, we'll just be looking into how to extend it and use it. And so at the end of this video, you should be able to create your own dialogue trees and easily run through different styles of text similar to this. So you'll be able to run through multiple player selections, multiple dialogues, see you later. You'll be able to instantly close out of dialogue when they reply. It's a few different things like that, and we're going to be looking into expanding it even further once we look into our quest system, but this will be it for now. So without further ado, we'll get into this. First thing I'm going to do is move this project over here, and I'm just going to cancel that. So now we have our project here, and I'm just going to open up my behavior tree. This is my first behavior tree. If you wanted a new dialogue sequence, like say you wanted another guy that says something else completely different than what this guy would say, then you'd create a new one of these, and at the end of this video you'll know how to do that basically, and you'll know how to run through different dialogue. If you see mine was a little more extended than this. So in here is where we're going to be working for a little while. Okay, so the last time we looked a little bit into the selector node. I'm just going to organize this a little bit differently just so it's a little bit easier to extend. So just going to move these over like this. And drag. Okay. And drag this down like that. And move these over to give myself some more room. So we have a reply 0, which is castles to the northeast. So for this one, I'm just going to have an example of a second page of dialogue displaying. Say you had too much dialogue and you couldn't just fit it on one page, you wanted it to have multiple pages. This will be how you do that. So you want to right click, go to tasks or composites, and get a sequence. And we're going to plug that into the selector. Get a reply 0 and plug that in there. So that's for a reply 0. And this is what will happen during a reply. And everything is set up in there properly. You always want to make sure the indexes are set. The dialog widget reference is set for there, and for the player talk, you want to make sure the player reply index and the dialog widget reference is set there, because that will cause issues if it's not. If you have some problems, one of those is probably would end up being your issue. So we have a reply here. So we have him saying the castle is to the northeast, and say we filled it out with more dialogue. We can either copy that and paste it, or you can just go to your tasks and get a new NPC task. And in here, we'll just set the name. You copied it, this would already be set for you. So now I'll say this, or maybe it was northwest. And if you wanted to exit after this guy, I'll show you a continuous one right here, but this one's just going to be the exit. So you want to go into your tasks, get your exit task. So after you finish saying all this, he'll exit. And it doesn't matter what order you have these in, but it just looks neater to have it like this. So he says this, and then he'll exit. So we test that out. I need directions to the castle, or maybe it's northwest, and then it'll exit. And you also want to make sure you set your NPC image or show up blank like that. So that's one example right there. And off our player reply one, we can create a sequence for this one if we want to do multiple things for it. So this will be our player reply one. It's going to drag this down so it's all in line like that for each reply. And I guess I'll move this over a little more just so it's out of the way. And tasks, player reply. This is what I mean where you get this, if you get this node directly for there and don't copy it, then you'll have this set this player index. And you can set the player name to whatever. And your image you can set. And then you can create some replies. And for this one, it's the reply one. So where am I? And your NPC is, and your NPC will say you're in the right place to be. And your player will, you'll get a couple replies. You can say, okay, then. Or thanks, I guess. And you'll also want a selector node because you have some replies. So you want to, depending on what each reply does, you want to do something differently. So for the first one, we'll drag out and the NPC will have the NPC reply. So let's get a task, NPC talk. And we'll want to add a decorator for Blackboard. That's for your reply 0. Let's give it a name, and you'll want to click your reply index and set that to 0. So this will be for when he says okay, then your NPC will talk. Give him his name. Okay, I just noticed that I skipped one, so we'll actually want to go up to this where it says okay then. And we're just gonna write, and where might that be? And for the second one, it's gonna be an example of instant exit. It means no dialogue play. So basically you're in the right place to be. He'll say, and where might that be? Or, and it'll instantly close the dialogue. You don't want to talk to him anymore. You can use this for other things. This is just showing you an example basically. So for your reply 0, you have your reply 0, and for reply 1, it's just going to be exit dialogue, and you're going to add a decorator. And it's going to be the index of 1, so that for the reply 1 it'll exit the dialog, and for reply 2 we're going to create a sequence. And I'm just going to organize this a little bit so it looks a little neater. You notice how it's spreading, it would continue to spread out kind of like a tree. That's why we use the term tree. So we have a reply 1. And if you click, and where might that be, it'll come down, reply 1. And I will say somewhere, that's for sure. And we're going to get a player reply. Make sure you set your player reply index. And this is what we're doing. Okay, then this is where I went ahead and one. So it'll be okay then, thanks, I guess. So your AI will say somewhere, that's for sure, and then your player will say, okay, then thanks, I guess, and that's if you click, and where might that be? The other one will exit the dialog. And we're going to want to continue a little more. So depending on our options, for selector for each of our options here. So for okay then, and thanks, I guess. We'll get a sequence and another sequence. Add a decorator. I noticed I'm doing a lot different ways. I'm just showing you different ways that things can be done, basically. Reply 0. Make sure you hit your player index and 0. And reply 1. Remember, the reason we're using 0 as the first one is because 0 is the first in an array, and it goes to 1. And we'll give this one a name as well. Reply 1. So now if it's okay, then we'll go here, and if it's thanks, I guess, we'll go here. And if he says okay, then we'll just do an NPC talk. And I'm just going to show you how you can just copy it, so you don't have to keep doing that over and over again, recreating all that. You already have NPC talks with the same name, you can do that. Just going to say question marks. If you say okay, then we'll just say like question marks. And then we'll want an exit task. So that will close out of the dialog and handle allowing you to walk around again and stuff. And reply 1. Set as default, NPC text. And if you say thanks, I guess. I'm gonna add a couple dots there just because I want to. And it'll say you're very welcome. And it will exit the dialog. So the difference between this and this, so if you can see, there's a sequence here between this reply. So he'll come down, he'll talk, and then he'll do this. up here, there's no sequence. It just comes down to the reply and closes out the text. So there won't be any. So as soon as you click this reply right here, then it will just close out of the text. I'm just gonna save and run through to see how everything's running. Where am I? You're in the right place. Exit of an example, and then closed. Castle's northeast or maybe the northwest, and then he closes it out. Where am I? You're in the right place. And where might that be? Somewhere, that's for sure. Thanks, I guess. You're very welcome. Notice that the dialog is stacking oddly. You want to fix that one. You can go to your blueprints, widgets, and your player dialog text widget. Select your text, scroll down here, and turn off auto wrap. And that should fix that issue. There we go. And one more thing I'm gonna do is set up the so that if you want to go into your player dialog text widget, I'm gonna set it up so that when you hover a text, you notice that when I was hovering the text, it wasn't displaying anything. It wasn't showing that I was actually hovering the text as a button. It's just, you can't really tell that I'm hovering, which one I'm actually hovering to click. So we're going to change that and have it set the color of the hovered button. So I'm going to drag this down, just, actually I'll put that underneath. Rename that. There. So that's that, and now we want to get our text button and on hovered and on unhovered. So now we're going to, on hovered, we're going to grab our text, set color and opacity. I'm going to promote this to a variable. That'll be the hovered color. And if you compile that, you can set your hovered color here. And I'm just going to set it to a darker orange. So, for example, this is what it will be like. And yeah, we have our engine crash. That's nice. Just gonna restart that quickly. And I'm pretty sure that for some reason just happens when you're setting the text. I don't think it'll crash a second time. And yes, I'm right. See, it'll set the color, but it's not setting the unhovered color. So now we want to set our unhovered color, so you can copy this and paste it. Drag out, promote to variable. And we'll get our unhovered color. And that color is going to be our default color. So you just come back here, select your text, come over, copy. You can compile this so you can get this to display and just paste it in here. And I'm gonna see if I can get the engine not to crash, but it's going to. Don't know why it does that, but once you load it back up, everything should be running fine. If you can figure out why that crashes exactly, and so we won't crash. I haven't really looked into any of the logs, but now you can see everything is working fine. Error hover text. And it unhovers when we click. That's going to be everything for this episode. If you found this video helpful and want to see more, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new tutorial video uploads. If you have any questions, suggestions, or comments, feel free to leave those in the comment section below or join my Discord community using the link in the description. Thanks, and I'll see you all in the next episode.